Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Clifton Bolin. Thank you for joining me. I want to get right down to the news. I don't want to waste any time on this, but I will say this, that you all know that the left and the far radical left is good at manipulating the words of former President Trump to try to make him look like a racist. I mean, I don't even need to go over that. How many times they have tried to do that. They have tried to, all the crazy things that are going on right now in this country, a significant number of Democrats and left are accusing this nonsense going on in this country right now to be something that Trump did. Don't blame me. Don't put anything on Biden. Don't put anything on him. Put it all on Trump. You know what I mean? Even though Trump is not in office, even though all this crazy stuff started happening when Biden got in office, don't put anything on Biden. Put it all on Trump. Okay? And what am I talking about? I'm talking about some words that I guess Al Sharpton said on MSNBC in reference to the incident that happened in Buffalo where the young man, the Caucasian male, went and traveled for 200 miles to Buffalo and killed 10 people, 10 African Americans who have all deceased. My family, my prayers go out to the families of the lost. And according to Al Sharpton, this young man did this because former President Trump mainstreamed this kind of hatred. Yeah, that's what he said. And I'm not surprised. So let's get into this article. I want to analyze this article. I want to analyze what he had to say. We're going to look into the words of Mr. Sharpton right now. Let's look at exactly what he has said. And we're going to break this down. The article is entitled, Trump Mainstreamed Hatred That Opened Pathway for Buffalo Shooter. So the article says, MSNBC host Al Sharpton, and honestly, I didn't know that Al Sharpton was a host at MSNBC. I didn't know that. But I'm not surprised. So MSNBC host Al Sharpton said Monday on Deadline that former President Donald Trump's rhetoric was, quote, the mainstreaming of hatred. According to Sharpton, it, quote, opens and broadens the whole pathway to people like the man accused of killing 10 people at a Buffalo supermarket Saturday. Discussing President Joe Biden's reaction to the shooting, Sharpton said, quote, if this does not make the White House say, wait a minute, we need to call in leaders from all these communities and we need to send a signal that we are antithetical to Donald Trump's presidency, about that there is fine people on both sides when marching down Charlottesville streets saying Jews would not replace us. This manifesto said Jews are using blacks to kill whites. He needs to dramatically show that this administration is against it, end quote. Now, let me say something about, first of all, the statement that he made that Donald Trump's supposed rhetoric mainstreamed this kind of violence against black people. I find that interesting because Mr. Sharpton, and I know you probably not watching this video, but I find that interesting, Mr. Sharpton, that you would claim that former President Trump's words and rhetoric, such as what you just stated here about saying there's fine people on both sides, which I'm going to get to in a minute, has mainstreamed this kind of violence. I find that interesting because your political party, sir, mainstreamed violence against blacks decades ago. Your political party mainstreamed lynching by the KKK. Your political party mainstreamed the Jim Crow laws in the Deep South. Your political party mainstreamed beatings from racist Democratic whites for quite some time. So who's doing the mainstreaming here, sir? Who's doing the mainstreaming here? Your political party mainstreamed Black Lives Matter and Antifa to burn down black-owned businesses, and then their excuse was, well, they have the insurance. That was your political party that supported that, sir. So who's doing the mainstreaming here? I submit to you a contrary argument, and that is your political party has been the one guilty of mainstreaming this kind of violence against black people. Now, let's get back to this. We stated that Donald Trump supposedly said that there are fine people on both sides. Anybody with any sense knows that Donald Trump wasn't talking about racist people and the KKK. Anybody knows that Donald Trump wasn't saying there's fine people on the side of the KKK. Man, come on. That's not what he said. Anybody with common sense knows that's not what he's saying. And no standing president would get up and say that. He said there's fine people on both sides. And there are fine people on both sides, just like there's fine people in the black community and buttheads in the black community. There's fine people in the white community and buttheads in the white community. There's fine people in the Asian community and buttheads in the Asian community. It's the same principle. So to try to use this as a way to justify, to try to use this as a way to claim that this young man basically had the green light to go and kill all these people in Buffalo because Trump said there's good people on both sides is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, I won't say in my entire life, but I say one of the most stupidest, dumbest things that I've ever heard in my entire life. You are way off, bro, but you're supposed to be a reverend. Let's continue. Sharpton added, don't forget when you opened up playing where President Biden then as a candidate was talking about what Donald Trump as president did. This young man was 15 years old then. So it was not that radical when the president of the United States says there are fine people on both sides. Once again, he's blaming Donald Trump saying that on what this young man said. Now, before I read any further, let me analyze this right here. First of all, you still off. Again, people were live streaming, killing, shooting, peeing on people, and all of that years before Donald Trump got in office. I don't know if you recall, Mr. Al Sharpton, but I've seen several videos of black teenagers live streaming, beating up white people, punching them, and then urinating on them. Where was the president? What was you at then? Your people that represent your race was beating up on innocent white people. These white people weren't from the KKK. They were innocent 9-to-5ers like everybody else, getting beat up by black teenagers and being urinated on. And they was filming it, live streaming it, bruh. So what are you talking about? This been going on for decades before Trump even got into office, bruh. You see how the left picks and chooses what they want to pick and choose and twist things out of context? Let's read on. The mainstreaming of this hatred, the mainstreaming of we would not be replaced. This kind of mainstreaming of this opens and broadens the whole pathway to people like this young man to feel that they're standing up for something. I find that interesting. First of all, I use the term mainstreaming. I guarantee you that term mainstream is going to become commonplace in the mainstream media, especially the left in particular. They mainstream. You're going to see that popping up everywhere now because Mr. Al Sharpton used it. It's so powerful how he said it. It's so dramatic. Oh, my God. He's such a great political speech. He's just so great of a speaker. The man's a clown. Okay. And I'm not ashamed to say that. Anybody that sits up here and twists words and lies for money because he's getting huge sums of money for this foolishness that he's spinning, these lies that he's spinning, I have no respect for that person. I have no respect for them. But let me tell you something. Let me say something else. To make this comment on this section here, which says the mainstreaming of this hatred, the mainstreaming of we will not be replaced. This kind of mainstreaming of this opens and broadens the whole pathway to people like this young man to feel that they're standing up for something. Let me make a comment about this idea that this mainstreaming of hatred makes this young man that got up and killed all these people to feel like he's standing up for something. Let's go back to Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Most of Black Lives Matter and Antifa is made up of young people. Am I right or wrong? Oh, I'm right. Yeah. It's mostly made up of young people in their early to mid 20s. They're considered young people. And these young people within the Black Lives Matter movement and Antifa and other far left radical left movements they feel like they're standing up for doing something. When those young black people and those young radical leftists burned down buildings, assaulted people, threw rocks at people, killed people, they felt like they was standing up for something. How come you're not saying anything about that? Who mainstreamed that, sir? Who mainstreamed that? Was that Donald Trump mainstreaming that kind of violence? Oh, I don't think so, because Black Lives Matter and Antifa represents the Democratic Party, the far left radical Democratic Party. During this time, the Democrats didn't say nothing about it. They didn't condemn what Black Lives Matter and Antifa was doing. They didn't condemn it at all. They didn't condemn it. So who's mainstreaming what? The devil is a lie. Sir, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, Mr. Al Sharpton. But let's read on. Why else would he be live streaming? He didn't do it and run and hide, and we find him a week later in a different state hiding on the bed in a motel. He live streamed it. Sir, people were live streaming, as I said before. People were live streaming before this young man even got into live streaming. People live stream things because they're narcissistic, particularly when it comes to there's various reasons why people live stream things, but when it comes to live streaming acts of violence, clearly the person is narcissistic and wants to be seen. They want to show this stuff off. But you got people, as I mentioned earlier, who are black and others who have live streamed acts of violence against not only white people, but against their own kind. Some years ago, I believe, when former President Obama was in office, I don't know if it was his first term or his second term. I think it was his second term. An older black gentleman live streamed walking up to an older man and shooting and killing him. I think it had something to do with a love affair he had, and it didn't work out. And I guess he was so depressed that he decided that he wanted to walk up and shoot an innocent black man. Where were you when that happened? Where was Black Lives Matter when that happened? Where was you, Mr. Al Sharpton? Who radicalized him? Who mainstreamed violence to affect that man's mind? You tell me, sir. Then we can have a conversation on logical grounds. But until then, shut your mouth. Because you are a divider of the people. You causing more chaos and more problems. And it needs to stop. I know I'm vocal about this type of stuff, but I get sick and tired of people like this getting on here and lying. You are not for the black community. You are for those donors that donate money to your movement, because the only way that you can keep getting money from these donors is to keep spinning rhetoric like you're spinning. Have a nice day, sir. But what do you all think about what Reverend Al Sharpton said in his comments here? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button. Share this video and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again on another Black Conservative with Ryan Bowling.